Welcome to the deep dive. We take interesting sources, unpack them, and, well, pull out the most important insights for you.
That's the plan.
And today, our mission is really to explore this fascinating audio blog from a nursing educator. It's all about their, well, transformative journey with technology and connection.
Yeah, it's a really insightful piece. We're going to look at the practical lessons, but also the mindset shifts that happened.
Exactly, how that initial, maybe discomfort with tech turned into something really positive, real growth.
And the core source here is that audio blog itself. It's very personal, a reflection really summarizing what they learned from a tech-focused course.
What really grabbed me was how upfront they were. They said, basically, if you told me at the start, I'd be recording blogs, putting them on YouTube, commenting on other people's stuff.
And enjoying it.
And actually enjoying it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just wouldn't have believed it. But there they were, doing it confidently, too. It's quite a turnaround.
It really is. And a key part of this, I think, is their background. Coming from nursing education, from healthcare, they had this constant filter, always asking, okay, how does this tech thing affect my students? How does it impact our patients?
That's such a critical lens, isn't it? Especially in healthcare. That whole idea of balancing high tech with high touch.
Exactly. It means using the new digital tools, sure, but never losing that essential human connection, which is just core to nursing.
Right. You can't lose that.
And they saw this balance as a central theme, how to integrate tech without sacrificing the human side. They felt that perspective was actually a valuable thing they brought to the course discussions.
So that's what we'll dig into, how this initially daunting technology actually became empowering. We'll look at blogging, too, using it professionally in surprising ways.
And the value they found in really robust debates on, relevant topics, plus the impact of just engaging, collaborating with others.
Okay, let's start there. With that journey from feeling overwhelmed by tech to feeling, well, empowered. They were honest, right? Setting up a blog, YouTube uploads, embedding videos.
All totally new.
Yeah, all brand new territory. They use the phrase incredibly stretched, which, I think a lot of us feel that way with new tech sometimes.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, okay, how do you get from that feeling, that stretched feeling, to feeling competent?
Right.
Well, they actually point to something specific, a step-by-step YouTube tutorial.
Huh.
They said they followed it minute by minute.
Ah, okay. So really practical guidance.
Exactly, which suggests it's often not the big idea of blogging that's scary, but the nitty-gritty steps, like navigating the menus, figuring out embed codes, privacy settings.
The mechanics of it.
Right, and that's where clear visual help, like a good tutorial, is just invaluable.
And it clearly worked for them. They called it a genuine yay me moment, a huge confidence boost, apparently. Made them want to try more.
It sounds like it.
When you hear that shift, what do you think is happening psychologically? Is it just learning a skill, or is it maybe deeper about how they see themselves with technology?
I think it's got to be more than just the skill itself. It feels like a shift in identity, almost. For someone established in their field, tackling something you thought was a big barrier and succeeding, especially with that kind of specific support, it validates your ability to keep learning, to adapt. It's not just about what the tech can do. It's about what you find out you can do with the tech.
That's a great point. It really shows how powerful, targeted, accessible guidance can be. It demystifies things.
No matter your background, yeah.
Okay, so they got over that initial tech hump. But then they discovered something else, right? About a tool they maybe saw as just personal before. Blogging.
Yeah, that was another interesting turn. They started seeing blogging's potential for their professional work.
How so?
Well, they're now actually thinking about setting up a blog space just for their clinical nursing students.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is something apparently they wouldn't have even considered before this course. But now they see it as a way to have an ongoing sort of dynamic conversation with them.
That's fascinating, repurposing it like that. What kind of opportunities or maybe even challenges do you see with that? Student blog space. It sounds potentially more flexible than, say, a standard course website.
I think so. It could be a less formal, maybe less intimidating space for students to reflect, ask questions, share experiences, build connection differently than a typical learning management system allows. The challenge. Maybe getting students comfortable enough to be open and contribute actively in that kind of professional yet slightly informal setting. But the potential for richer learning, for community, it seems huge.
So beyond the personal tech wins and the blogging idea, something else really stood out for this educator. It was the interaction, the people in the course, specifically the debates.
Where they really got a lot out of those discussions. Things like, how technology enhances learning, or the whole debate around banning phones in classrooms.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And the impact of social media on kids. Really relevant stuff.
And what made those debates work, it sounds like, wasn't just what they discussed, but how. They mentioned resources from people like Dr. Becky Kennedy, Jonathan Haidt.
But also the intellectual rigor. These weren't just casual chats. They sounded like proper, robust exchanges. Ideas were challenged, but respectfully. It pushed them to think critically, not just nod along.
Yeah, that's where the real learning happens, isn't it? When you have to grapple with different viewpoints.
Definitely. Especially with complex issues like these.
And because they're a nurse, an educator, seeing rising mental health issues in young people.
Right.
These discussions weren't just academic. They apparently gave them more context for what they were seeing professionally. new ways to think about it.
That really comes through. It shows how evidence-based talk on topics that actually matter can deepen your understanding in a way that connects directly to the real world. It wasn't about winning the debate.
No.
It was about getting richer perspectives by engaging with different ideas.
Okay, and that leads perfectly into the last piece, which was the impact of just showing up. Engagement, collaboration. This educator made a real effort, didn't they?
They really did. Tried to contribute consistently to the debates, commenting on blogs, joining discussions. They said they didn't want to just, quote, go through the motions. They wanted real engagement.
And it seems like that paid off. They mentioned reading every post, leaving thoughtful comments.
And learning a huge amount from what everyone else shared. So that active participation, plus the fact that their classmates came from diverse backgrounds, it created this really rich, dynamic learning environment. It's a great example of how learning is reciprocal, you know?
The author actually called the collaborative nature one of the class's biggest strengths. Everyone brought something different. It reinforces that idea that learning isn't just passively soaking stuff up. It's about actively participating, exchanging ideas. Contributing actually made their own learning better.
Exactly. It wasn't just about giving input. It was the receiving and integrating all those different perspectives that was so powerful. That conscious choice to show up turned it from passive learning into something, well, genuinely immersive and beneficial for everybody.
So bring this all together. What's the core takeaway here? I think the deep dive really highlights that message from the source. Tech doesn't have to stay intimidating.
Right. With the right support, the right mindset, it can become truly empowering.
It's a strong case for, leaning into that discomfort sometimes, trying new things. That's where the growth happens, personally and professionally.
And maybe especially in fields like nursing, where you've got this constant need to balance innovation with that core human connection. They can't be separate.
Yeah.
And this journey shows how you can achieve that balance, not through some big abstract plan, but through, like we saw, specific help, like a YouTube tutorial, and just being willing to try.
And these lessons, they feel pretty universal, don't they? It doesn't matter if you're a student, an educator, or just anyone wanting to adapt and grow.
Absolutely. The need for good guidance with new tech, the value of hearing different viewpoints, the importance of actually participating, that applies everywhere.
It's a reminder that growth often means stepping just outside that comfort zone, even if it's just one small step.
One step, one blog post at a time, perhaps.
Exactly. So that brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about this deep dive, about embracing new tools, new perspectives, where's one area in your life, maybe learning or work, where you can maybe lean into the discomfort of not knowing a bit more to foster connection, maybe spark some innovation, just something to think about.
A good question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.